Get started. Does anyone want to get out? Hey guys, this is Frozen Wish Tears here, and welcome back to another movie review. And continuing on my Captain America review marathon in preparation for Captain America Brave New World, I am here today to do a review on Captain America the Winter Soldier. So Captain America: The Winter Soldier is the second installment in the Captain America quadrilogy, as well as the third film in MCU's Phase 2, and is directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, making their debut into the MCU. And it stars Chris Evans, Samuel L. Jackson, Scarlett Johansson, Robert Redford, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Kobe Smulders, Frank Grillo, Emily Van Camp, Haley Atwell, Toby Jones, etc. And so the film tells a story taking place at approximately 2 years after the cataclysmic events in New York with the Avengers. Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, is living quietly in Washington, D.C., and is trying to adjust to the modern world. But when a Shield colleague comes under attack, Nick Fury technically, Steve becomes embroiled in a web of intrigue that threatens to put the world at risk. Joining forces with the Black Widow, Captain America struggles to expose the ever-widening conspiracy while fighting off professional assassins sent to silence him at every turn. When the full scope of the villainous plot is revealed, Captain America and the Black Widow enlist the help of a new ally, the Falcon. However, they soon find themselves against an unexpected and formidable enemy called the Winter Soldier. Now I'm sure you guys are familiar with my thoughts on the first Captain America movie. If you saw my recent review of it, Captain America: The First Avenger is one of the is not one of the best MCU movies, and in comparison to a lot of MCU movies we get now, it is a mid-tier MCU movie, but it's still a great origin story that features one of the greatest writings in all of one of the best written origin stories in the entire MCU. So considering how considering that Captain America is now living in this modern world, and after going through his origin story, and especially after seeing Cap in action in the Avengers, expectations were high going into this, and I still remember being quite excited for this film. In fact, I remember that time when I saw Captain America, the Winter Soldier in cinemas. Now I will say that this is my theatrical experience with this. Like, even if it was 11 years ago now, which is insane, I have not forgotten that my experience for this film in cinemas. I had one of the worst cinema experiences ever. Good grief! It was just my cinema experience with this film is atrocious. Because on one hand, my I tried a new theater, a brand new theater in my country, and considering that cinemas were not advanced yet at the time, the quote unquote new theater that I tried is actually really shit, man. It was so tight, and what sucks even more is that I sat in the last row. I'm honestly not a fan of last row seats. And yeah, it is really tight. And what makes things worse is that legit I accidentally spilled my popcorn, so I had to sit in the middle of the movie. So I had to sit through the entire second half of the movie just with the spilled popcorn on the floor. It was not the most comfortable experience. So, but I still ended up really liking the film. But it pretty much took into me yeah, but it took until later in the decade to make me see that this is truly is among one of the best MCU movies. Now considering that the MCU movies of back then were the action scenes in MCU movies back then weren't super violent. Sure, they had violence in them, but they weren't like I'm sure you know what I mean by this. especially for a solo MCU movie. Honestly, when I remember when I saw this for the first time, it shocked me by how just intense the action was, and I kept on thinking about it. But I didn't really think about how impactful it was until, like, again later on in the 2010s decade. And yeah, this is actually the fan favorite MCU movie. There are a lot of people. There are a handful of people who call this the best, the greatest MCU movie ever. Like, and I can totally see why people would consider this as their favorite MCU movie ever, because I think this movie's hype is real, man. Yeah. So, and even if this is a fan favorite film in the MCU, or at least one of the fan favorites, there are also a handful of people who say that this movie is overrated, and that it's actually illogical. It does not make sense, and that it's just simply overhyped. But oh, and also before I get to my thoughts, I need to give a shout out to Anthony and Joe Russo, because they are the greatest MCU directors ever, and this is actually the only legit solo film that the Russo brothers directed, because they directed Captain America: Civil War, which is technically Avengers 2.5, which is like an Avengers movie masqueraded as a Captain America movie, and then of course you got the two massive event films in the MCU, as the Avengers films, as well as the two incoming MCU movies, and now Phase Two has had quite of a bumpy start there. Even though I still think Iron Man 3 is highly underrated, I still really like Iron Man 3. There is no doubt that Iron Man 3 is yeah. Um it it's a mid tier MCU movie, but it's still awesome. However, the next However, it's Thor: Dark World that really brought MCU Phase 2 into a bad shape. Because yeah, unlike Iron Man 3, which I personally defend, Thor: The Dark World deserves all the hate it gets, because man, is it just very frustrating to watch. It's probably my least favorite MCU movie now, on reflection. Yeah. I initially called Captain Marvel the worst MCU movie, but you know what? Screw it. Thor: The Dark World, I think, is the worst MCU movie. It is just But thankfully, Captain America: The Winter Soldier saved the MCU, because damn, is this movie a masterpiece. This is actually the very first masterful MCU sequels, because what MCU sequels did we have before this? Iron Man 2, which is pretty much my second worst MCU movie. Iron Man 3, which again I still like, but yeah, but not, but far from one of the best MCU movies. And then well, Thor: Dark World, which I already said, and then there's Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This has been my favorite Phase Two MCU Phase Two film for a long time, and it still is. It still holds up as my favorite film in the MCU Phase Two. Marvel really carried hard in 2014, especially with DC not being around. I think Marvel really stole the spotlight. And you got films from Fox Marvel, not only MCU but Fox Marvel and Sony Marvel as well. Like in 2014, although yeah, I actually do think that X-Men: Days of Future Past still my favorite superhero movie 2014. I don't know if I have mentioned this to you guys, but I do think X-Men: Days of Future Past is my favorite MCU movie. No, my favorite superhero movie 2014, and I think it still holds up. But The Winter Soldier is a close second. It is a top 10 MCU movies, maybe top 5, but I'll think about it. And it is certainly one of the best MCU movies of 2014. As much as I really love Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America: The Winter Soldier is actually the better MCU movie of 2014 to me. Like, but just slightly. Yeah, Marvel really stepped up their A game with this perfection because this actually feels like a new era of the MCU. It feels like we've really moved on and made the MCU a lot more advanced. This film just feels like it. And Anthony and Joe Russo proved themselves to be arguably the best MCU directors, and it's easy to tell how much they've cooked with their MCU debut alone. It features a top tier action in the entire MCU with arguably the best choreography. Now, I still stand by how I feel about the action in the first Avenger being the weaker parts of the film. Again, not bad action, just not very memorable. So this is a total upgrade. Like the action in this film does not feel like your typical superhero action with just big spectacle and CGI fest. This this is very different in some of the best ways possible. It feels like that the type of action you'd expect in a regular superhero, in a regular action movie, let alone in a regular spy movie. Like it's just great. Yeah, the elevator fight and the highway fight are these standard action scenes in the film. Oh, and also the ferry action too. The film, yeah, yeah. What can I? I mean, the action. And the fact that there's like no nonsense in the MCU, no dialogue. It's just seeing them fight silently. It's just amazing. The highway fight, I think, is the true best fight in the entire MCU. No, 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 no. Okay, well, no, not the entire MCU, but I mean, in the entire movie, just seeing Cap and the Winter Soldier fight hand to hand in combat is just it's just so kick ass. And the elevator fight, just seeing that action scene just really has so much stakes to it. Just seeing Captain America crammed into an elevator and with so many other guys and yeah, and then he has to like take them down despite being cramped. Yeah, you can really feel the suspense and the tension and the stakes there. Yeah, this movie just has some real stakes to it. And yeah, the film goes for the spy thriller genre route, bringing even more of a sense of what kind of hero Captain America is. He is a hero for he is a hero who represents the ideologies of the country. Yeah. The story is so good. The story is extremely heavy but brilliant. It tackles themes of adapting, embracing your role in the world, and knowing who to trust and not to trust. And despite its plot heaviness, it is also a character driven film, as well as Steve going on a journey to adapt his modern self, as well as embrace his role as a leader. His arc was at an all time high in this, and his character peaked when he delivered what could possibly be the best Captain America monologue speech yet. That monologue of Captain America is absolutely powerful, and I mean really powerful. With a major plot line in the story centered around trust, the film has suspense in it, as not all characters in the film who are who they seem. Hydra still being active in the modern world and secretly took over Shield is one of the biggest and most bombastic plot twists in the entire MCU. The scene with Zola's algorithm speaking to Steve is absolutely haunting, especially with the fact that we saw Zola appear as just a short man who served as Red Skull's henchman in the first Avenger, but then this film showed Zola's true colors. The supporting characters were all well handled in this one. Starting off with Black Widow, I will admit that I do think this is one of a Black Widow's weaker film presence in the MCU. It's just that there are better ones there. I still think they handled the Black Widow's character really well. And yeah, she still kicked a lot of ass in this one. That all the action scenes involving Black Widow were just epic. And who else? Oh, and Sam Wilson's debut to the MCU was perfect for his character, especially when Sam's character just gets better and better later on, and it goes to a point where eventually becomes the new Captain America is absolutely I mean you just really love this character in this one it really you know yeah I'm sure you know that what I mean and Sharon Carter also had a perfect debut here, as Sharon Carter is one of my favorite MCU characters. Sure, yeah, she only played a minor role here, but she's still, but I still cared about her personally. But and honestly, I gotta be honest. I think Sharon Carter is the better female character in this film than Black Widow. And I think the best character in this film, the supporting character, I will say Steve Rogers himself, Captain America, is the best character in the film. But out of the supporting characters, Nick Fury is the standout. This is his best presence in the entire MCU by far. There was much more to his character than just being the big boss who just tells everyone what to do. You really like get feel and see more to his character, especially when his character gets attacked and nearly dies in this one. And the film even explains how Nick Fury lost his eye, and it certainly did way better than Captain Marvel. Even if I don't think Captain Marvel it's as bad as I remember it being, I still don't like it though. Don't get me wrong. I still cannot get over that film's disrespect to what this film set up and Nick Fury losing his eye. And yet, Nick Fury saying, "You gotta keep both eyes open." Oh man, that is amazing. Oh, and also this is Samuel L. Jackson's best performance as the character of Nick Fury. Let alone his best performance like since Pulp Fiction. Yeah, his performance in this movie is Pulp Fiction level good. I know you guys are not gonna like me saying that, but it's true. The Winter Soldier is such a slick villain. The fact that Bucky turned out to be the Winter Soldier was even more fascinating. Sure, yeah, we all knew that Bucky was going to be the Winter Soldier and that Hydra brainwashed Bucky, but seeing Steve's feelings towards Bucky being brainwashed by Hydra was genuine. And the final battle between Steve and Bucky, where Steve tried to remind Bucky about who he is, but Bucky's mind was plagued, is really heart wrenching. As someone who really did not like Bucky's character in the first Avenger, this film truly improved on him and really changed the game of his character for the rest of the MCU to come. Alexander Pierce is one of the most underrated MCU villains. Is he one of the best MCU villains in general? No. But he truly is manipulative and a huge menace, especially considering he is a secretly Hydra's leader. Oh, and also the score as well. Oh, this score is top tier. No one talks about the score in this one. I think more people should talk about it. This score is just among the best like and most badass scores in the MCU. The score brings the essence and the feeling of just dread and suspense, and it makes the action scenes more intense than they already are, especially when it comes to Steve's hand to hand combat. Like wow. Now, I will say that I do have one nitpick with the film, and that is the Captain America suit that Steve wore in the climax looked a tad bit outdated and off-putting. Now, I do understand why he used that suit because he can't use that suit anymore, the old suit. And oh, and by the way, speaking of which, I forgot to mention having Steve Rogers be a fugitive for like a certain portion of the film that really just raised the stakes and the intensity of this film. Yeah, but yeah, but that suit though was just kind of weird for the kind of film that this is, considering that they're really like upgrading everything technically in this film. Seeing Steve wear his outdated suit was just off. Yeah, I adore his suit in the beginning of the film during the boat mission. I think that is one of Captain America's best suits yet, and seeing him in action with only his shield and without the suit made him even more of a badass than he already was. So overall, Captain America: The Winter Soldier is certainly among the MCU's best, and the hype for this movie is all real. I think people should believe the hype. It is a very complex narrative with a lot to say about this world and society, and a lot of like strong messages. And it features some of the most top tier action in the entire MCU. 2014 might be the MCU's best year with both this and Guardians of the Galaxy, two consistently masterful films. And 2014 in general was just one of the prime years for comic book movies, like in general. This X-Men Days of Future Past, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Big Hero 6 love all these movies. Even The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was good despite it being clearly the weakest superhero movie in 2014. Let's see if 2025 can top 2014 as the MCU's best year. Oh, and 2014 is certainly one of the best years for cinema. And I would consider The Winter Soldier as a top 5 films of 2014. Yeah, that's how much I love it. So with that said, guys, I'm going to give Captain America: The Winter Soldier an easy 5 stars out of 5. A flawless masterpiece movie. Is this the best Captain America movie? Well, maybe, but let's just see how Civil War goes and rewatch. So also for my review of Captain America: The Winter Soldier, what are your thoughts in the film? Would you agree with me that this is one of the best MCU movies in general and the best Phase 2 MCU film? Would this be your favorite MCU movie in general? Would you say that Guardians of the Galaxy is the better MCU movie of 2014 than The Winter Soldier? Or do you consider this movie to be overrated? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review on Captain America Civil War. So yeah, bye guys.